Welcome back, everyone, to Westlake Hornets Teambuilder Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14. As today, Season 8 of the series will officially kick off with the Season 8 introduction in today's episode, where you can find out everything you need to know for the next season of Westlake Hornet football. So, without further ado, let's just get right on into it. We're going to start off with red shirts, depth chart, and custom schedules. I showed these in the off-season premiere, however, I have made some changes, so I can update you all on that. Starting with the depth chart, quarterback will once again, of course, be Peyton Curtis after a really solid freshman season. Running back, the Alex Ellis replacement, Dante Savage, redshirt freshman, followed by Patrick Daly and Jason Gibbs as the main backups. Fullback, we really do not use the fullback at all on this team. So that's actually going to be Jeff Washington, the senior tight end. I guess we wanted to make him feel good so he can start. Wide receiver, Michael Wilson is gone, but other than that, the receiving core will stay intact. Everett Lemieux, Nigel Wiggins, Malik Brown will slide into where Wilson played, and then Noah Newton will slide into where Malik Brown played last year. Tight end, once again, Sandy Fishing, followed by Jeff Washington. Same core that it's been for the past 4 seasons now. We do have the long-term replacement in Ronald Young, however, he is the only other tight end on the roster, so depth is needed. Offensive line is quite similar, not exactly the same. Ryan Reginald, now a senior at left tackle. Left guard, Neil Scott, once again. Center, it was Mike Carter last year, however, we moved Jeremy Reynolds to center, and he is 3 ratings higher than Carter. So Reynolds is going to play there this year. Carter will get that starting job back later. Right guard, this senior William Underwood, and then right tackle, not left end. Right tackle will be the junior Donald Shaw. Now, the defense. The defense lost much more players than the offense. The D-line, there are 4 totally new starters, starting with Cole Spencer, who we recruited to Westlake as an outside linebacker. That's where he was projected to play this year. However, with Isaac Solomon's surprise departure, he's going to be moved to left end, and he's going to play where Isaac Solomon played last year. 6'5", 215 isn't necessarily left end frame, but 86 strength, and he does have good enough pass rushing moves to where his size won't be a liability. Right end will be Ray Johnson. He's going to replace Brock Rivera, who technically went number 1 overall in the draft. Defensive tackle, replacing QJ Casimir, those are some big shoes to fill, literally, is the true freshman 5-star Marcus Shelton, and then replacing Ernest McCoy is going to be Derek Berry. Defensive tackle is certainly a weakness on this team. Westlake tried to recruit a bunch last year, the only one they got was Marcus Shelton. Left outside linebacker, I had a position battle last night between Lewis Kahn, Justin McGee, Lawrence McCoon, and Scott Wheaton, and I ended up going with McCoon. The main reason is he is by far the best in coverage of those 4, and the left outside linebacker on this team is more of a coverage linebacker rather than someone who tries to get in the backfield. Scott Wheaton will be depth. Lewis Kahn and Justin McGee will be redshirted. Middle linebacker, once again, Owen Jackson. Backup is actually Jimmy Gray. He can play a little linebacker as well as safety. And then right outside linebacker, the now senior Ogobo Anecho Jr. Cornerback, a little bit different. No more Wesley McNamara. No more Emmanuel Charles. So Jeremy Harrington will now take over that number 1 spot. He was injured for a decent bit last year. Followed by Adam Alexander, Josh Wilson, and Andy Pino. There is John Paul Patterson, who is being redshirted. So only 5 cornerbacks, including John Paul Patterson, on the roster. Brenton Scott is the 5th corner on the depth chart. Safety will once again be Leon Moore. He is now a senior. And strong safety will once again be the junior Sean Briggs. Kicker, now the senior Matt Fellows. Punter is going to be Alberto Prompel. Kick returners, once again, Briggs and Alexander. Punt returner, once again, Briggs. Kickoffs, Matt Fellows. And long snapper, I believe, is William Underwood. So, the depth chart, the only thing I changed since the premiere was the Lawrence McCoon move. And then redshirting, same thing. The only players I have redshirted since were Lewis Kahn and Justin McGee because they are freshmen. McCoon and Marcus Shelton are the only 2 starters who aren't being redshirted. And then we cannot redshirt Jeff Brandt because he is a fullback. The players who will be getting redshirted, Rodney Allen, Josh McClelland, Lewis Kahn, Marcus Lee, Justin McGee, Tim Beck, Ulrich Ayaluko, Ikeka Jackson, John Paul Patterson, Curtis Vincent, Marcus Jones, Brandon Flores, Chris Burton, and that's it. Now on to custom schedules. I've made plenty of changes with custom schedules. The original non-conference teams were Utah State, LSU, Illinois, and Auburn. Utah State is the only one still there. So the new schedule, still Week 1 versus Utah State, our rivals. Then, at number 12, Georgia. At number 1, Texas, taking on the defending champions. Then Week 4, Pac-12 play kicks off at UCLA, who's ranked number 16. Week 5 versus Colorado. Week 6, non-conference versus Jackson Kelly and the Indiana Hoosiers. Of course, former Westlake offensive coordinator Jackson Kelly is now the head coach for Indiana, and he's done a really good job with this program. Week 17, bye week. Week 8 versus the rival Utah. Week 9 at Washington State. Week 10 at Oregon. Week 11 versus Washington. Week 12, bye week. Week 13, Senior Day versus Boise State. So Senior Day is not Week 11 this year. And then Week 14 at the rival BYU. So, that is a look at the schedule. And now on to the fun part, recruiting. Now on to recruiting, and if you're new around here, what I do is I have fans make custom recruits in my Discord. If you're interested in joining, I'll leave the link in the description so you can make a recruit for next year, or if you just want to stay connected with me and other fans. If you did make a custom recruit, they will all be shown at the end of the video. So, skip to recruiting. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Westlake has gotten the past 3 number 1 recruiting classes, so hopefully we can add a 4th straight top class in the nation. That would be pretty cool. I haven't even pointed this out yet, but we are the number 4 team to start off this season. So, on to all prospects. Curious to see how many 5-stars are interested. Obviously, we've been a 6-star school prestige for the past few years. So, here we go. The number 1 player in the class is Calvin Spence, an athlete. Looking at the top 10, no one is slightly interested. That's good. There's Stephen Westwood up there, custom recruit. Delvin Hines, another custom recruit. He is 5th for us, so I guess there's progress. Matt Dixon, a wide receiver, is 2nd for us. There's Braxton Westwood, custom recruit. He ends up being a 5-star, surprisingly. Matt Duckett is 1st at receiver. We don't need receiver. So, not a ton of 5-stars are super interested. Harold Hall is 1st. I guess that's cool. So, yeah, I will now make our recruiting board. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to scout, starting with the number 4 overall player in the country, an athlete, DJ Thomas. And he will go up to a 78. Looks like he can play defensive back, which is definitely what this team needs. Stephen Westwood, quarterback. He can also play a little bit of running back and receiver. And then there's another player in this class just like him, Breon Anthony. Can play quarterback, running back, receiver. And he's very tall as well. Stephen Westwood goes up to a 78 overall. Khalil Corbin, the number 9 overall player in the country. He is a gem. 80 overall for Khalil Corbin. Delvin Hines, 77. He's a gem. Delvin Hines goes up to an 82. Sheldon Diggs, can he keep up the streak? No. He stays as an 80 as the phone rings in the background. Ross Johnson, athlete. He goes up to an 80. Okay. So the phone is done ringing now. Looking at Ross Johnson, he can play defensive back. He can also play wide receiver. Seems like someone who would be pure cheese on offense, but we don't really need receiver. Braxton Westwood, the cousin of Stephen Westwood. He will go up to a 79. I'm surprised he's that good. When we looked at him the past few years, we thought he'd be a 4-star, but he's a 5-star. Zaire Wiggins, the number 1 cornerback in the nation. He goes up to an 81 overall. This guy looks like a cheat code, honestly. 94 speed, 89. He is 5'10", so he's not the biggest, but skill set is certainly there. Middle linebacker, Tommy Fitzpatrick. Owen Jackson is a redshirt junior, and the replacement for him is not on the roster. Fitzpatrick stays at a 78. That's fine. Reggie Carr, tight end. Could use some tight end depth, especially if Braxton Westwood does not work out. He goes down to a 73. Okay, I mean, he will likely use his depth early on, so it's not the end of the world. J.B. Givens, always good to have offensive line. He goes up to a 76. Very balanced player, which is definitely not a bad thing. Jeremiah Green could use some defensive end edge help. He goes up to a 77. Defensive tackle might be the biggest need on this roster. Marcus Shelton and Derek Berry are freshmen, but we have to see how they do. Shelton, I think, is safe, but Derek Berry is not ideal. Mike Freeman, he stays at a 76. Andrew Murphy, he goes down to a 71. Sam Brown goes down to a 65, and he was first for us too. That is great. Well, at least it gets us 50 XP. Jamal Fields, linebacker, goes down to a 72. Anthony Mitchell, 78. This guy looks like a beast as well. Terry Harley, cornerback, 78 as well. So this looks like a really solid cornerback class, which is huge for us. Kyle Harris, cornerback, he goes up to a 72. And then Colt Olson, center, he goes up to a 75. Here are the rest of the players on the board. A few custom recruits: Octavius October, Andy Butler, Christian Horn, Volker Gans, among others. We have simulated a week. We are now in week 1. And back to recruiting. We can give out points, scholarships, and stuff, but right now we're just focused on Insta-Commit. Anyone who is first, they are getting a scholarship right now. So, Tommy Fitzpatrick is second, so is Reggie Carr. J.B. Givens is first. Now, last year, we had 5 players insta-commit. Safety Marcus Jones, safety Marcus Lee, wide receiver Curtis Vincent, wide receiver Ikeka Jackson, and wide receiver Ulri Ayaluko. Common theme with the positions, but we got 5 players, which is a lot, so hopefully we can have similar success this season. JB is an insta-commit. What a start. So the first player we give a scholarship to, J.B. Givens, is a Westlake Hornet. We could use O-line, we could use tackle, so that's a big pickup. Jeremiah Green, he's first. We could use end. Nope. Mike Freeman is not first. Andrew Murphy is. We could use D-tackle. Nope. Sam Brown, he's a bust, but who cares? Nope. Any of you guys first? Terry Harley. This guy looks like an absolute monster. He's 6'3", and he does not commit. Wonderful. Kyle Harris? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Anyone else here? Matt Duckett? Nope. Harold Hall? Nope. Andrew White? Nope. So, very dry spell after J.B. Givens for sure. Greg Giorli. And he insta-commits. Okay, so maybe we don't need Christian Horn. Maybe we don't need Volker Gans. Not huge on his skill set, though. He has C kick power, which I do not like one bit. So that doesn't mean I won't go after either of these two. Eric Hawkins? Nope. Mike Johnson? Nope. Matt Jones? Nope. Luke Hall? Nope. Mike Wilson, maybe he's related to Michael Wilson. And he commits! So the Michael Wilson name replacement, Mike Wilson. And then can we finish it off with Dwayne Morton? Yes, we do! Dwayne Morton, a Westlake Hornet. So we got 4 insta-commits. 3-star tackle, Dwayne Morton. 3-star end, Mike Wilson. 3-star kicker, Greg Giorli. And 4-star, I believe, offensive tackle, J.B. Givens. Welcome to the team, gentlemen. I'll do points later on. So, now on to preseason polls. We get to see our overall rating. I'm very curious about that. Texas, number 1 to start off the year. So, preseason polls. Here we go. The number 1 team in the nation is the Texas Longhorns. As a team, we are a 95 overall, 99 offense, 93 defense, and we also got A+ special teams. So that is good. And here are the rest of our rankings. If you see your team, good for you. Who's dead last? BYU's 100 on the nose. Who do we get to make fun of here? Troy. Troy, you suck. Alright, on to Conference Outlook. We are in an easier division than we were last year. We switched from the South to the North, and I do think the North is easier, but I wanted to have some variety. So I think we're definitely going to win the conference, and the game agrees. Utah in second, followed by Washington, Oregon, Boise State, Washington State, and BYU in dead last. And then in the South, USC, they beat us out in this division last year, just based off of head-to-head. followed by Arizona, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, Arizona State, and Colorado bringing up the rear. Now, on to Heisman Watch. Could we have a Westlake Hornet here? Last year, a preseason favorite was Alex Ellis, and he did end up winning the Heisman, of course. And the favorite is Mike Fenner. We recognize this name. Followed by Zach Clemens. So 2 Arizona guys at the top. Charles Bryant, will be seeing him this year. Followed by Dorian Johnson and Tyrone Miles. I remember both Bryant and Tyrone Miles. They were both 5-star athletes. Preseason All-Americans, we'll have plenty of these. Starting the All-NCAA first team. Looks like we got nothing for offense. That's great. Owen Jackson on defense, along with Adam Alexander, Leon Moore, Sean Briggs. And then the second team. Any of our players? No. Wow, they're hating on us. Pac-12. That's not Pac-12. Mountain West, best quarterback is a 77. That's sad. All Pac-12 first team, Nigel Wiggins, along with Everett Lemieux at wide receiver. William Underwood, Owen Jackson, Adam Alexander, Jeremy Harrington, Leon Moore, Sean Briggs. Then the second team, Peyton Curtis at quarterback, followed by anyone else. Agobo Anecho, Matt Fellows. I see Calvin Meeks in there. I recognize that name from recruiting. We wanted him. Didn't really work out. So, championship contenders. I'm curious to see how high we are here. 4th for this year, and then the next 3 years they have us at number 1. I'm not too surprised with that because of our insanely good recruiting classes. So now we're going to go back to recruiting and start to hand out points for our players. I would like to point out that Volker Gans is a gem. We're also going to scout Greg because I'm curious. He goes up to an 85. So Greg is the better player, but I like Volker's skill set better because it's much easier to upgrade kick accuracy than kick power. So I want someone who has a good leg now, and then accuracy can be worked on in the future, whereas with Greg Giorli, his kick power is barely going to go up, and his accuracy is going to be maxed out really quickly. So I think we're still going to go after Volker Gans and maybe Christian Horn as well, but it's still good to have Giorli. I think we may want him as our long-term punter because I feel like power is definitely not as important with a punter, whereas I think having good accuracy early on can be very beneficial. Alrighty, so I have allocated our points. We're going after, obviously, a bunch of people. I gave a bunch of points to many different players, starting with 600 for Zaire Wiggins. I think he should be our top target. He looks like an absolute cheat code, and it does look like he wants to play in the SEC, but Pac-12 ain't too much worse. Tommy Fitzpatrick, middle linebacker, is a need. We're only giving him 250 because we are second with him, so I don't think we need to invest as much in him early. Khalil Corbin looks like an absolute beast. He looks like he wants to stay in California for sure, but we still want him. DJ Thomas, he looks like an absolute beast. He's getting 450. Delvin Hines is also getting 450. This guy coming off the edge would be absolutely frightening. Sheldon Diggs, D-tackle is a need. I think 350 might be a bit low, but we have time. 270 for Octavius October, a custom recruit and the brother of Dolphin superstar Quantavius October. Colt Olson will get 150. 330 for Stephen Westwood. I didn't know how I was going to go after him or not, and I do think I want him. He does look like a really solid player, and we could look at Breon Anthony if things with Stephen Westwood don't work out. Ross Johnson, he gets 350, 245 for Braxton Westwood. Mike Freeman gets 220. Anthony Mitchell gets 480. We definitely want him. Terry Harley, 320. Kyle Harris, 250. And then our last 285 points, we dedicated to the kickers. 135 for Volker Gans. Actually, we're going to swap that because we are farther down for Volker, and it does seem like a few teams want him, so maybe I'm actually going to give more to Volker because it seems like he is very popular among the SEC schools. We really want Volker Gans. If he doesn't work out, Christian Horn could as well, or vice versa. I like Gans' skill set a little bit better. Obviously, Horn is the better player right now, but I think long-term, Volker Gans could make more sense. However, Christian Horn, I think, does look better than Greg Giorli. 88 kick power is really, really solid. So, that's going to end the video. Hope you all enjoyed. Next episode will be opening day versus Utah State. And yeah, now on to the Custom Recruit Showcase, and have a good one.